G'day folks. Sabaton is the greatest currently working band on planet Earth. In my opinion, of course. They're fantastic. Just song after song after song is brilliant, is an instant classic, has a memorable riff, and I mean the quality and the themes of every song is just amazing. I mean, this band, Swedish band, and every song is dedicated to, a epic, grand moment in military history, or just in history in general. But most of the songs are military themed, and they're fantastic. I mean, not only are they uplifting and inspirational, but they really get you pumped. I mean, this is the ultimate song to play. Their music is the ultimate music to play before you're going to play a sporting event, or even go online and play, a World War II themed game or something like that. Just anytime you need to be revved up for something, to get that adrenaline flowing, play one of their songs. They're fantastic. I mean, these songs should be played in history classes. I mean, if you want to make kids interested in history, play some Sabaton music. They'll learn a whole lot about battles and events that aren't always covered in the mainstream syllabus for modern history. And they even cover ancient history too. I mean, their music is so catchy and it's technically brilliant too. You get amazing solos in there. They're great musicians. The front man is got quite the stage presence. He looks like he really looks the part of a heavy metal band, a front lead singer, but he's got an amazing voice. His vocals are so strong and powerful and visceral, and they come from deep within too. You can feel the gravity of his voice. It's very deep, but he can really hit high notes too at the same time. And I mean, I like so many of their songs. It's like each time I listen to a new one, I'm like, another instant classic, another instant classic, another instant classic. And they're amazing live too. I've watched videos of them live, and they sound just as good live as the studio version. And it's rare, a lot of bands don't sound as good as their studio version. But these guys are up there. I mean, tell me a band that's better than them currently, that's churning out the same, consistent level of quality music, that has as interesting, lyrics and themes as their music does. No other band comes close at the moment. The closest you'd come is to point out an older band that's maybe still going, but they're not producing new music that's of the same caliber as their old stuff. Whereas Sabaton just put out a new album now, and they've released 3 songs from it. All 3 are fantastic. The Fields of Verdun, great song. Bismarck, I love the Bismarck song. That's got a great riff to it, and it's such a powerful, epic song. And it's got a great message at the end as well, about how the British soldiers, rescued a lot of the Nazi sailors who were drowning in the oceans. They did the humane right thing and rescued them instead of letting them drown. Got a great message, and it brings to light a lot of these big, important, historical, pivotal events of World War I, World War II, and even ancient history that a lot of people don't know about, And hey, this is a fun way to discover, interesting parts of history. I mean, they covered, there's one song of theirs that even covers a battle in World War II, a lesser known one that I'd never even heard of before. And I mean, I love so many of their songs. I've noted down some of my favorites just to point them out and to recommend you go and check them out. Because, I mean, you listen to one song of theirs, maybe 2 at most, and you'll be hooked. They're that good. So my favorite song of theirs that they've ever made is from, I think, 2012, and it's called Carolus Rex, or Carolus Rex, and that's the Latin name of the king of Sweden in the very early 1700s. And he was very pivotal in Swedish history, and they've made a song dedicated to him and his exploits. And the song is the most epic song I've ever heard, bar none. Bar none. It's the most sort of rev you up sort of song, adrenaline pumping, epic song. I mean, it would perfectly overlay over footage from Warhammer 40k, and that's like the most epic, franchise and lore out there. And this song does it justice. It's that awesome. That's my favorite of their songs. And some of their other standouts are Primo Victoria, which is another great tribute song to World War II. And this one is about the D-Day landings and the Allied fight against the Nazis and the valor and courage, that it took to storm those beaches. That's a great song. And then, another song that sort of speaks to, ancient history is their Sparta song. I love that one. That one's a real, tribute to King Leonidas and the 300 Spartans who, held off countless Persians at the Battle of Thermopylae. Brilliant song. That's another great rev up song if you want to, get the juices flowing before, a sporting event or something. There's also the Hills of Gallipoli. Now that is a great song. Now that one speaks to me as well as an Australian. This one, lays tribute to the Anzac legend of our great diggers. We called them diggers here in Australia, our veterans from the First and Second World Wars. Actually, all our wars, we call them diggers. It's a term of respect down under here. And this is a great song that pays tribute to the men who stormed the beaches of Gallipoli. And that was, talk about impossible odds, man. The cliffs of Gallipoli, you look up pictures of those, folks, if you're not unfamiliar with that battle. And it's like sheer cliffs right onto a very narrow beach front. And they had to climb those up under, machine gun fire. And amazing men and an amazing battle in history that really forged Australia as a fighting nation that the world stood up and took note of. And Australia was also very, very present at the Battle of Beersheba to liberate the Holy Land. So that's another pivotal moment in Australian history. And I don't think Sabaton has covered that battle yet, but I'm sure they will in the future. I mean, they're covering everything. Another great battle is, another great song from them is called The Last Stand. And that's about the Holy Roman Empire and their fight to protect Rome from the invaders. And just another great inspirational sort of song with a great film clip too. And there's another one called Panzerkampf, and that is about the Germans' invasion of Russia on the Eastern Front and how the Russians held them off and, fought oftentimes unarmed because they were, they didn't have enough supplies to arm all their men. A lot of times the Russian soldiers had to, run unarmed behind one of their armed soldiers, wait for him to be shot or drop his weapon so he can pick it up and fight. Yeah, crazy, I know. But they had a lot of manpower that they threw at the Germans, and it ended up working. Couple that with the winter and the Allies, harassing the Germans on the Western Front, and, all these factors combined meant the end of the Third Reich. But that's another great song, just paying tribute to the men that fought, bravely. One of their other songs is called Coat of Arms. And that is about the Italian invasion into Greece in the early 40s there. And the Greeks said no. It's known in Greece as Orchidei, when they said no to to surrendering to the Italians. And then the Italians invaded, and the Greeks fought and held them off, just like the 300 Spartans. And the song even, hails back to King Leonidas and his legacy of heroic bravery that, lived on in the people of Greece, even in the 1940s. And they fought against the odds again. They were outnumbered again against the Italians, and they fought them off bravely. And even to the point where there's a quote attributed to Winston Churchill. Now, correct me if this quote is not real, because I've seen it around a lot, and I haven't had it debunked yet. But apparently Winston Churchill said something along the lines of, "Let it be known that Greeks don't fight like heroes, but that heroes fight like Greeks. Because the Greeks were hailed in World War II. Even though the Germans did eventually come and occupy all of Greece, the Greeks never let the Germans have an easy time occupying their nation. They always, were a thorn in the side, a fly in the ointment, as Mr. John McClane might say. They were always a pain in the ass of the Germans down south there in the Mediterranean, with guerrilla attacks and constantly, just sniping at them and attacking them, and they were always resisting. And some credit that as being pivotal to, another pivotal thing that sort of, put another dagger into the heart of the Germans. Holding them off enough, causing enough trouble where they had to spread their men and their supplies thin enough to cover all these fronts that they were fighting in the south, in the west, in the east. And they spread them thin enough that they couldn't concentrate their power in any one position, and they were defeated. So, I don't want to get into too much World War II history. I ain't no expert, folks, so I don't want to, wax historical too much and make any mistakes here. Don't want to be too inaccurate. So, I'll leave it there with the history, but also I've got to recommend their newest song that just came out, all right, called The Red Baron. And obviously this is about Baron Manfred von Richthofen, the most well-known, famous ace pilot of World War One, shot down so many, Allied planes, and he eventually was shot down himself too, but I think his kill ratio was so high that he was feared by the Allied pilots. I mean, his reputation still lives on. The Red Baron, such an epic name too, still lives on, over 100 years later. And this song is a great tribute to him and just to the men who fought in the sky. And this was a new thing for them. Flight was only 10 years old when that war started, or 11 years old to be exact. When that war started, it was a new phenomenon. It was a new field of the military. And these guys were pioneers, man. They had a lot of balls flying up in those little wooden boxes, man. And they're flying at quite high speed, shooting machine guns at each other, dropping bombs, like literally dropping bombs with their bare hands out the side of their plane. That's how they used to bomb things. Crazy stuff. But this is why I love Sabaton. Not only is their music epic and technically brilliant, and not only are their vocals, awesome and really memorable, and not only are their riffs also memorable and just stand out and get stuck in your head and catchy, but their lyrics are meaningful and epic and have weight and, are tributes to these amazing historical events and the most epic wars in history. And this is why, they are the best band in the world right now, in my humble opinion. And, if you disagree with me, hey, let me know who's better and why they're better. And let me know a band that has consistently put out songs over the last 10 years that are this good. Dozens of songs that are all great and all instant classics, and that are as epic and awesome in their subject, in their themes and their actual, what they're about. Their subject nature. God, I'm getting tongue-tied here, folks, because I've been ranting on for too long. But yeah, you tell me a band, anyone who disagrees with me, right, that is better than them at the moment. I'm not saying they're the best band of all time, but they're the best band in the world right now as of 2019. I would say even of the 21st century. At least of this decade, since they've been well known. So if you don't know Sabaton, check them out. They're awesome. You won't be disappointed, especially if you love history and you love metal. All right? And you love epicness. If you love all those things, check out Sabaton. You won't be disappointed. They're great, they're awesome, and they're the greatest band in the world right now. So, please, like, share, and subscribe. Leave me some comments if you are so inclined. God bless you all, and I'll see yous later.